It was announced yesterday that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won MVP. Again, well, congratulations, because Victor Wembanyama is looking to win Finals MVP. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you had a great weekend. Spurs versus Thunder, Western Conference Finals, Game 1 tonight. Our first time sharing a Western Conference Finals together. And many people think this is going to be the NBA Finals due to the matchup, the irresistible force versus the immovable object. I dare say that this series will be higher rated than whoever ends up being in the NBA Finals, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. But let's break down this series a little bit. Let's get into it. This is what happened during the regular season. The Spurs won the series 4-1. Game number 1 on December 13th. The asterisk is because it was an NBA Cup game. Close game, 111-109. Spurs blow out the Thunder in Game 2 and Game 3 of the season, 130-110, 117-102. Then the Thunder finally won a game, blowing out the Spurs on January 13th, 119-98. That was in OKC. And then in an odd game, that is not right. It's not 116-6. I don't have time to edit this, unfortunately. It's one take TSR and I do these on break. It was 116-106. However, if we won 116-6, that would set a whole bunch of NBA records. Oh boy, well, I got to move on. Let's talk about the teams and how they did post All-Star break. The Spurs were phenomenal, 34-4, and the Thunder were just as good at 32-4. The best two teams in the NBA post All-Star break. And as Spurs fans, we saw a huge leap with Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper's play, which has thankfully carried over and will continue to carry over into the playoffs. What to watch for in this series? Chet versus Wemby. I mentioned the irresistible force versus the immovable object. That is those two right there. I can't wait to see these two go head-to-head. I hope they are defending one another on both sides of the court. For all due respect to Chet Holmgren, who is a very good player, Wemby is the much better player offensively and defensively. Now, take that with a grain of salt, of course. Context does matter. Chet is not the number one option on his team, but I still think Wemby is above Chet. But it's going to be a good matchup, and I'm sure Chet will get him in at least a game. Heck, maybe even two. The big one I'm sure a lot of Spurs fans are worried about, officiating. What is going to happen? How much physicality are they going to allow? Are they going to call a lot of touch fouls? Because we all know this. SGA, he is a free throw merchant. It is what it is. He gets to the line. Big part of your game is to score. Well, getting free throws is going to get you score some points if you're a good free throw shooter, which he is. He has led the league in free throws made the last 4 years. Stephon Castle, I'm sure, will defend him at times. He likes to play physical. Are they going to allow him to play physical and the rest of our guys? Or is it going to be, foul, foul, foul? And if that's the case, this is going to be an extremely tough series for the Spurs to win. Jalen Williams, welcome back for the Thunder. He's been out for, a couple of weeks. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. It feels like all season, on and off, on and off. What will he contribute? Will he be on a minutes restriction? Will he even start tonight? Or be coming off the bench? And speaking of the bench, how about the Spurs bench? Minus Dylan Harper, I think it's been fairly uneven. Harrison Barnes is kind of working himself a little bit out of the rotation. Keldon Johnson has been up and down. Game 5 against the Timberwolves, he had his best career playoff game ever, which was then followed by his worst playoff game ever, where he actually got benched and did not play in the second half. Luke Kornet's been mostly decent, but he's been up and down a little bit too. And then Carter Bryant, as expected as a rookie. Well, I can't really use that excuse with Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is not in the same boat as Carter Bryant. Carter's had some great moments, but also some kind of head-scratching moments where he's shown to be a rookie. So I think our bench is going to need to perform. Keep an eye on them, especially Luke Kornet. Don't want to see him play over 36 minutes if he doesn't have to. And the way we can stop him from playing that many minutes is going to be Luke Kornet playing well. And also, if Luke Kornet plays well enough, maybe we'll see some French Manel in this series to match Chet and Hartenstein. All right, up next. Here's some predictions from NBC Sports. I was just kind of look around this morning. I was like, let's see if I can find a couple of predictions. And NBC Sports all have the Thunder winning in 7. Okay? It is going to be a tough series. No doubt about it. It's going to be an ultra-competitive series. But what about my prediction? Besides pain. I'm actually going to put down every game. You probably already figured this out if you're starting to do the math real quick. I do have the Spurs in 6. I have them winning game 1 tonight. The Thunder bounce back at home in game number 2. Off to San Antonio, Spurs win game 3. And then in a very tightly contested must-watch TV of the year. The Spurs win in overtime in Game 4. OKC's not going to lay down. They're going to win at home in Game number 5. And then the Spurs seal the deal and are off to the NBA Finals in Game number 6. Should be noted that coming to this series, the Spurs have been on fire. They have won, the last 2 ones, I should say, against the Timberwolves. They absolutely crushed them. Those games were not competitive at all. The Thunder have not lost the game yet in the playoffs. I forgot until doing this video. They swept both their opponents. They're on a heater too, but I think the heater ends tonight. One thing I want to talk about that's related to this series, but not related to this series, but it's certainly a point of controversy a little bit on this channel. DAA Ron Fox. All right. I can admit when I'm wrong. And doing a lot of research since I made the video yesterday. I had some time to kind of reflect and dig a little deeper, dig a lot deeper. I do think I have been too hard on De'Aaron Fox. And I think a combination of that is his huge contract. Not going to get into that any further. We'll talk about that after the Spurs win the championship. But my concerns with the contract and moving forward. But also the contract plus what he did in Sacramento. The player he was, what was needed of him in Sacramento, because of that player of who he was and what was needed, I think that skewers my view of what he does with the Spurs. What I mean by that is we don't need De'Aaron Fox to go out and score 26 points per game per night like he did in Sacramento. We're a very balanced team. We're a very deep team. And we just need him to be efficient, distribute the ball, sling some D, and get shots for the other guys, which to his credit he did do in the series versus Minnesota. That being said, I do stand by he will need to be playing better than he did versus Minnesota versus OKC for us to win. He can't be going multiple quarters without scoring or going 3 of 12 from the field or something like that. We're going to need him to be big. That being said, I'm going to amend my grade from yesterday. I don't usually do this, but I did a report card on the Minnesota playoffs. One take TSR, I'm sorry. The Spurs versus Minnesota playoff series, and I gave him a D-, and that was low. He was bad in my opinion, Game 1 and 4. I stand by that. He was fantastic in Game 6, and overall, I think he was average-ish, if you will, the rest of the series. Minnesota, though, was focused on him a lot, and he did play, I think, better defense than he normally does. So I'm going to bump his grade up from a D+ to a B-, which is still substantially higher than the grade I gave him yesterday. I hope he continues to. I really hope he proves me wrong in this series and just lights out. I don't think he's going to be scoring 25+ a game, but if he scores 20 points per game, 6 assists, keeps the turnovers at a minimum, plays some D, gets some steals, does the swipe thing, and he's efficient, I'm rooting for him. I truly am. Because whatever happens, whether you're on the boat of you want him to finish out his contract or be a Spur for life, or you want him traded in a few years, wherever you fall in that, it's best he plays well for all of us. Because if he stays and he's playing well, we're winning. If he plays well and he's going to be traded in the future, playing well will increase his trade value. So, De'Aaron, I'm counting on you to step up. I know you can do it. We've seen it in spurts. We're going to need the best version of you, though, if we're going to beat OKC. All right. That's all I got. Spurs in 6. I sure do believe it. It can happen. We beat them all regular season. I know these are not the same teams, but I do believe this team can do it. When they play their best basketball, we know they can beat anybody, which they've shown earlier in the season versus the Thunder. And they showed when they play their best basketball, the Minnesota Timberwolves games weren't even competitive. Blowing them out not once, not twice, but 3 times. Spurs fans, and if you're Thunder fans stopping in, because there might be some, I know there's a few on the channel, what's your prediction for tonight? Who do you have winning the series? Do you think it goes 5, 6, 7? Do you think one of the teams is going to sweep the other? And of course, G-Plug alert, I will be live tonight. Of course, I'll be live for every Spurs game and Thunder game. I'll be going 15 minutes early, just to kind of chat with you guys. I was doing a half hour. That's too much. Going live 45 minutes before tip-off. It wears my voice out before the game starts. So 15 minutes kind of falls more in line, I think, where I'm comfortable with. Some of you have been asking about Miss TSR. She'll be here tonight. I don't know. It's not looking good. She's flying in and her flight's a little late, so probably not. But me and the couch contingent will be here, and this is going to be an exciting game 1. I am so thrilled to share the Western Conference Finals with you. Not only the Western Conference Finals, this whole playoff run, this whole season, and to go from a 22-60 team just 2 years ago. Wemmy's rookie season, we were 22-60. You've got the blood clot scare last year, plus, of course, what happened with Pop. So many things since Wemmy joined the Spurs. And just in year number 3, we have a chance to go to the NBA Finals, and it starts tonight by beating the Thunder at home. Drop a comment, hit the Stump Do Like Sports channel, and subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. And thank you, and as always, go Spurs Go.